of the games, but this week, Sony finally came out, showed everyone what the PlayStation looks like. Not only that, they showed a shit ton of games as well.
So many. I think it was
nice.
a super strong stream.
That was a hype stream, honestly. I mean, the build up was so. Look, my only criticism, and it's not really a criticism, but how annoying was it that between each trailer they showed off the square, the circle, the X, the triangle, but like in a different visual style. There's like a weird transition
with that very
scene.
soothing music.
Yeah, like do. I knew it was obviously building up to the reveal of the console, but every time it's like, cool, what a nice trailer. Do new trailer. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? Yeah, let me also get an article on the side.
They really kind of showed Microsoft, like Microsoft's first Xbox Series X stream was like, oh cool, yeah, they're making do from home with webcams and whatever. And Sony's like, yeah, no.
I think it's such an interesting thing because, like, I do commend Microsoft for showing off the Series X that early. Like, they showed it. Like, here's our new console. Here's what we're working on. And it's like, okay, cool. Know what it looks like. Okay. But we still haven't seen their first party lineup. Okay?
Yeah, and that's only coming in July.
That was shown in December, the console. Now in July, we've seen third-party stuff, but that was a very underwhelming conference, sorry to say.
Yeah.
But the first-party stuff, I'm hoping, is really good. Okay.
They really did it like an own goal here because they had the momentum. Like
they had it, yeah.
Everyone was asking, like, why is Sony keeping so quiet? Why this? Why that? Then they did the third-party thing, and everyone's like, oh, fuck. This is not that good.
But then Sony rolled all their shit into one.
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's a whole lot of first-party titles exclusive to, well, not only first-party, but here's a whole lot of titles exclusive to the PS5, and here's what our console looks like. I think they did it very well.
And what I think they did, by rolling it all into one, they kind of masked the fact that their launch lineup doesn't really have a big exclusive.
No.
And even the one that is launching on the holiday is a game that isn't built with the PS5 specifically in mind.
Is that Spider-Man?
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into it. So they opened up the stream curiously with GTA 5, which was super confusing.
Theft Auto, yeah. That Rockstar logo came up and everyone, I mean, I was like, GTA 6. It's like, nope,
I immediately thought, I was like,
5.
how the fuck did this not leak? Like, it's just like, oh, GTA 5's coming to the PS5 and only in 2021.
Okay.
Like, what? So does that mean, like, is it, you have to purchase it again, or is it backwards compatible, or
I don't know. But
confusing.
My favorite part of that though was like GTA Online free for all PS5 owners, and then right at the bottom it's like PS Plus subscription required. It's like, come on.
Well, that shows you they're not getting rid of that next gen. So
no. And let's just remember, Grand Theft Auto 5 launched on the PS3. That era.
Yep.
Okay,
it will be a three gen game. I don't think that's ever existed.
It's insane. Yeah.
They did confirm after the event that it's also coming to Xbox Series X. So,
I mean, why wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it?
Come on. Then we went into Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales. So, put it this way: this was a big surprise because Spider-Man came out at the end of 2018. So the last thing I was expecting from Insomniac was a follow-up
Spider-Man, yeah.
And the way they presented it made it seem like a sequel.
A straight-up sequel, yeah.
Not.
So I haven't finished Spider-Man. I actually really need to go back and finish it.
I thought you did.
But
weird.
No, I'm about 15 hours in. So I know Miles Morales is there, and I don't know how the story wraps up. But when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's probably picking up from that same story somehow. I don't know quite how, but I also thought it's a sequel.
It sort of picks up. Apparently, I haven't played the DLCs because apparently they're not that good. But apparently, his story kind of like progresses there as well, and this is sort of like a continuation of that. And for like 24 hours after the event, there were statements made by an executive from Sony that suggested, "Oh, this is an expansion that's bolted onto a remaster of the game," and everyone was like, "What?"
Right.
Like, and then there was a bit of confusion as to around like, well, if it's a remaster, do original PS4 owners get it for free? Like, whatever. So that continued for like 24 hours. It was so weird. And eventually Insomniac came out and said, it's not a remaster. There's no remaster of the original game. This is a standalone
game.
expansion spin-off thing, sort of like, think of it like Uncharted Lost Legacy or Infamous First Light is probably the better comparison, because First Light was like a standalone expansion that took place within the same city as Second Son. And I think that's what this is going to be.
And is this exclusive to PS5, not coming to PS4?
Yes, so this is the weird thing. So they say it's exclusive to PS5 and they've made enhancements to the engine with the PS5, considered. But at the same time, the original city and the way it worked was also only designed with PS4 in mind. So I know that they use Spider-Man as an example of like, hey, look how much faster we can swing through the city because of the SSD. So maybe that's something they'll do. But like, you're still sort of playing like the sort of cross-gen thing at the same time where people who played the game on PS4 now have to have a PS5 to play this new standalone thing. So it kind of shows, I'm not going to say the worst side because I don't know if it's better or worse, but like it shows the differences between Microsoft and Sony's approaches to exclusives going into next gen, at least for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Interesting terms.
and the fact that they shied away from saying, there's a remaster of the original, like Sony never really said anything about their cross-gen plans here. Like, are they going to have something like smart delivery where you get upgrades for free, with backwards compatible stuff? And that to me was a bit concerning. So we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see.
Next game shown, Gran Turismo
Vroom.
5. Vroom vroom. I mean,
7.
7. Yeah, 7. Sorry. I saw PS5 and I had 5 on the brain.
Wow. 7.
I've never been a huge Gran Turismo player.
Look, I played 1 and 2 on the PS1, and I played 3 on the PS2, I think. And I loved them, but since like PS3 onward, I've had nothing to do with Gran Turismo. So racing games are usually like a really good showcase for visuals. I mean, I think of Forza on the Xbox; it looks beautiful, like it really does. I find like the outside the cars look really nice, but when they showed the interior and the actual driving, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
like it looked a bit weird.
It didn't like. It didn't wow me. Yeah, I got the same sense. Like I'm like, yeah, this looks beautiful, but it also looks like something that I could get on a console now. You know what I mean?
So it was very weird. I was like, that's not the showcase, because Gran Turismo is usually this wow showcase piece, and that wasn't it. So I don't know.
And I'm curious as to how, especially with racing games, that it's very difficult to showcase something like the SSD on that, because it's like, well, you're racing on a track. So
reload the track 10 times faster.
Yeah, and this is why like racing games often like push the boundaries of visual fidelity, because they don't have to worry about big open worlds and this and that, which kind of makes Forza Horizon so impressive, because they managed to keep that visually stunning while having an open world.
An open world, yeah.
But Gran Turismo, like, I'm not huge into simulation games. Like, I love Forza Horizon, but I'm not a huge fan of Forza Motorsport, just because... I don't know, like, simulation games are fine. I just find the progression in them super weird.
It'll take a while, yeah.
Especially Gran Turismo with its licenses and stuff. It's just
my God.
not appealing to me at all.
Just imagine young me trying to get, what is the best license was, like A+ or something?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Trying to do those things over and over and over again. But I got them eventually, and it was worth it, but my God. It was
that's essentially why I'm there for racing games for the thrills. So the idea of you have to drive the slow as hell car to get this license to, I'm just like, no, fuck off.
No.
So yeah, but it's cool that it's come back, because it's been a long time since we got a mainline Gran Turismo. So.
Yeah.
Next game, which I think was the best demo of the lot, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Showcased like actual visuals and gameplay on the PS5.
Yeah. And also showed you once and for all why the SSD is such a big deal.
Yeah, and also some ray tracing, just for good measure.
Oh yeah, I did see that the reflections on the floor.
This is some awfully shiny floors.
Yeah, that's the thing that's going to happen, and I love and hate it at the same time. It's just like, cool, we got ray tracing, and Battlefield was guilty of this. Like everything was reflective. Fucking puddles everywhere. Everything's shiny chrome. It's just like, it's bad. It looks gross. Like, Control restrained it a little bit, and I appreciated that. So anyway, the game looks phenomenal. It's a Ratchet and Clank sequel in development by Insomniac, and I guess the main premise here is that you are like destroying the fabric between worlds, so you're jumping between worlds rapidly. I think that demo of them basically going from one massive open world to the other without any loading whatsoever was just like mind-blowing to me.
Really cool. Here's where this friendship ends. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank in my life.
Whoa.
And I know the
Wow.
PS4 one. I actually have it on PS Plus. I think the remake of the first one.
It's so
I need
good.
to play it. Yeah,
It's
I've got it.
so good. Like you can play that game and pretty much be like you can read up on the story of the other ones because the story is like comic-y and nonsensy but it seems like they're bringing back an antagonist from one of the previous ones here, Dr. Nefarious, which is funny.
Nefarious.
But yeah, that first remake on PS4 is so good. It's really, really something.
It's like a Pixar movie.
It just looks
But it's a
beautiful. It
game.
runs well. It's a lot of fun. Like I really like Ratchet and Clank's like really
Wild
ridiculous
weapons
weaponry, and its gameplay is really fun to me. So I'm super stoked for this. I'm very excited.
It looks good.
Let's quickly go through some other ones. Project Athia, which is a new
It's a
Square Enix and
Square
Luminous
Enix
project.
exclusive.
Yeah, and a PS5
that's
exclusive.
yeah.
Oh, well, PS5 and PC, they said.
Okay.
They did come out and say PC, just not Xbox. So weird.
It's like
so it's
coming
nothing
out
to do with like
coming out to everything, not you Xbox.
yeah, it's not like it's because of the SSD thing. It's like no, it's just not coming to
yeah.
Xbox. Yeah.
Although it's interesting because I do wonder if, say, for example, they do build this with the SSD in mind, but they know that in a year or two, PCs will have some sort of similar fidelity. Like I imagine.
I think
at
we're
some
getting
stage, Yeah.
I think we're definitely getting to the point where game requirements are going to be like you need an SSD of this speed.
Which is just wild, but okay.
Yeah.
But the game they just showed cinematic looks interesting. Don't know anything about
it. Almost
actual
looked like a Final
gameplay.
Fantasy to me.
When they started showing it, I honestly thought. I mean, I saw the Square Enix obviously, and I did think this is maybe
16.
the rumored 16 that people are hoping for.
That's what I thought. I mean, it could end up being that because it's just got a project name.
It's Project 8. Yeah, you're right.
And if a mainline Final Fantasy 16 is not coming to Xbox, that'd be wild.
Well, I mean, remember Final Fantasy 13 was like the first time Final Fantasy had come off PlayStation and joined every other console. So,
but since then, I think every single one has come to Xbox except 7.
Except 7 remake, which is supposedly still coming at
supposedly,
some stage.
yeah, it's still a timed.
Then we get to the game of the show.
We got this game called Stray, which is about cats, which looks cool.
No, it's about one cat in a world full of robots.
Oh yeah,
I think.
Humans have died off. Cats are
This
still in
trailer
abundance.
was real good. I enjoyed it.
Looks real good. It's like
this-
neon-y and rain-soaked, and kittens wear backpacks. It's real good.
So again, don't know what the gameplay is like.
Yeah,
But just the walls and the fact that you're playing this cat, I'm like, yes,
I want to play that.
take my money.
So just taking stock here quickly. So just to like drive home my point of how the hype kind of masks certain things. Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out holiday 2020. So it's a launch thing. But it's a standalone spin-off, not a full, whatever. Gran Turismo, no date. Ratchet and Clank, no date.
No date.
Project Athia, 2022. Stray, 2021.
Bam.
Then the next game, Returnal.
Which is the funniest name ever. I love
I think it's a terrible name. Oh,
when
God.
when you're a developer or an author or the director or whatever, and you come up with a name, you're like, what word doesn't exist? But I have to kind of make it sound like something. Returnal. Good
God,
Lord.
I hate that name. It's so unmemorable and it's just a bad name.
Returnal.
But the game itself looks cool. It's developed by Housemarque, who made like one of the best PS4 exclusives, Resogun.
They do like shooters, right? Like not
they do like
first-person
arcade
shooters, but it's like So
but
this
they've
looks-
moved away from the arcade stuff because they said it wasn't making them enough money.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, this game looks like quite something.
This looks like a third-person shooterish thing with a Groundhog Day mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, do we know what genre it is? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a roguelike something where you sort of progress, you die, whatever, that you reset, and you've got permanent upgrades or something. Like I'm guessing, but that's a sort of what the trailer sort of makes me think it'll lend itself to that genre.
That's the vibe I got from it, especially when I read here that every time you revive, the planet changes. So it definitely sounds like a roguelike. It almost reminded me of Control in a way, but it looks cool. I think it's a bad name, but I think it's exclusive to PS5 as well. So I don't think that had. I think that said holiday 2020. I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
It's not mentioned here.
Then we got a surprise.
Sackboy, a big adventure, basically like a Little Big Planet Mario game. It looks like Mario World almost.
But I wonder why they steered away from the Little Big Planet name. Do you think it's because of copyright or ownership or something? Because this is from
Sumo Digital.
Well,
but Sumo Digital did Little Big Planet 3.
But they, I mean, who's Media Molecule did the actual Little Big Planet? So I don't know if they like own the name or whatever. But I think it's weird.
Media Molecule is owned by Sony.
Yeah,
so.
But I just find it weird to not lean into the Little Big Planet name. Like everyone sees Sackboy and they know.
I think they maybe just wanted to use a different name to differentiate. Like this is a different game. This isn't
it's not
a creation
2D,
tool. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is more like a 3D. Well, it is like a 3D, 2D platformer.
Do you not think it's going to have creation tools though?
I don't think so. I think they're just going straight for a platformer vibe here. Yeah.
Because I thought like what a clever way like to sort of grow the franchise. You've got the 2D tools now. It's like we're going 3D. Here's the tools to make 3D stuff. But I don't know, with Dreams, it's like, nah.
Yeah, it's like, do you undercut Dreams? Like, that's the thing.
Do you undercut Dreams? Oh,
that I think is coming holiday 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, it didn't have a date. Again, no date.
Good Lord, no date. This next game, I was completely taken by.
Oh, Destruction All-Stars.
Oh, no, wait. No, did you miss Kenner Bridge of Spirits?
Oh, that's after that.
Is that after? Okay, then this article's got the order wrong.
Destruction All-Stars.
Destruction All-Stars. What a wild-looking game.
There's not much I can say about it. It did not do anything for me. It just
it's chaos.
Like Rocket League, but you could get out your car or something.
And you can crash cars.
Kenner Bridge of Spirits looks awesome.
This is a game I'm talking about. Okay, this looks like a 3D Ori, basically.
Yes.
I guess such similar vibes from it.
So the funny thing is, it's developed by a studio called Ember Lab, and Ember Lab.
It's like a film studio or animation studio.
Yeah, so they actually did a short, like a very beautiful CGI short for Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. That you can find on YouTube. It's like 10 minutes long and it's gorgeous. It's like amazing. And they're the studio behind that. So I don't know how they pivoted towards a game, but the game looks very Zelda-ish in vibe. It's got like platforming and range combat and melee combat. And
the game looks like a movie. Like it really looks stunning. Like a fully rendered Pixar movie. It's super pretty.
I'm super down for it, but that's... Apparently, it's coming to PC this year and PS5 next year. So
I guess wonder where I'll play it.
Yeah. Goodbye Volcano High, which had a very cool art style, like this hand-drawn fantasy art style. Looks like a cool narrative game. With dragons or something.
With stuff.
That's coming out in 2021. Oddworld
Soulstorm.
Yeah.
So we knew this game was coming because I mean Soulstorm's been that term's been thrown around for like actual years now.
It's like I think Lorne Lanning has been talking about a sequel for ages
for a long time. So now we finally have a full-on remake of Abe's Exodus, which was again so Abe's Odyssey came out on the PS1 and Abe's Exodus back then. Abe's Odyssey got a remake called what was it called? Not Soulstorm.
Soul Puddle. No, I'm joking.
It was something. It had a weird name, like New and Tasty. That is legitimately
yes, it did. Yes, that's right.
Okay, so that is a remake of Abe's Odyssey. Okay, now this is a remake of Abe's Exodus, which I distinctly remember because I've played Abe's Exodus once, when it came out, and I finished it over a weekend. And I'll never forget, because I think it was the quickest I've ever finished a game. Not because it was short per se, more so that I just couldn't stop playing it.
By it. Yeah.
I don't know, but it's interesting because looking at the trailer, I don't remember much of the game. So there's a lot going on. I can't say I'm excited because I don't remember. Like, I don't know what touch points.
What's interesting is that they've kept the like gameplay style. It's still that 2D puzzle.
But that's what Abe's Exodus was, though.
Yeah.
It's still 2D, so it's interesting.
It's always funny because you look at those trailers, you're like, oh, this is goofy and hilarious. And then you realize its themes are so dark.
Its themes are real dark. But I still stand by Oddworld, to me, is one of the most imaginative worlds ever made in games. When
It's
you look
really
at
cool.
it, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. All the creatures and the designs are just like wacky, but they're
And the
so
noise they make
imaginative.
when they like chant. Oh, yeah. So good.
yeah. The next up we had Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh, yeah. So Oddworld Soulstorm is coming to all platforms. It's not PS5 exclusive.
sorry.
And it's coming out later this year.
Yes.
Ghostwire Tokyo, which, if you recall, was a big
Bethesda's,
reveal
yeah.
at E3 last year. It was basically like Shinji Mikami came out and he's like, I've got a protege who's been working on a horror game. And that was, what's her name? Nikumi Nakamura?
Yeah, she basically became like, so John Michael pointed this out, after Keanu Reeves, she was the second biggest meme out of E3.
Definitely. She was just so genuine and so bubbly, and she was awesome. The weird thing is she's since left what's the developer's name? Tango Gameworks. So she's not working on this anymore. She's apparently was rumored this week that she's trying to pitch an Okami sequel to Capcom because she worked on the original Okami.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I don't know. But so when she came out and showed this game, it was meant to be, they said like it's super scary. I did not get that from the trailer.
I also didn't think it would be first person. That was the thing that like shocked me. I was like, oh, okay. It almost looks like Skyrim. In a way, it's like using a lot of magic, using your hands in a first-person view to, I don't know, fight off spirits in like a very beautiful-looking Tokyo. So
Yeah, weirdly enough, I got super hot vibes from it, just from the like not in terms of actual visuals, but just the combat of like I don't know, there's something about that first-person perspective and the way enemies approach you gave me very like super hot vibes. I don't know why.
okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. But not at all scary looking to me.
So what's interesting about this is that it is a PlayStation 5 console exclusive, even though it's Bethesda. So interesting.
Well,
yeah.
there's the title we'll get to later that was shown.
But that's coming out in 2021 apparently.
Oh yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo. Okay.
Yeah. Then we got
Jet the Far Shore.
Yes, I'm excited for this just because it's developed by Super Brothers, who haven't made a game since Sword and Sorcery like 9 years ago.
Is that good? I've
You've never played Sword and
touch points.
Sorcery?
Nope.
Oh my god! It's on like your phone, it's on iPad, it's on PC. It's so good. It's
Sword and Sorcery.
It's like really brief and short, but it's amazing. And like from an audio standpoint, it's just it's really fucking
good time.
So Jet the Far Shore, I don't really know what it looks like, but it almost looks like a space exploration thing.
The showcase was very much like I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you pointed out, you're excited purely because you know it's a game from the studio who've done other awesome stuff.
Yeah, as soon as I saw their name, I'm like, cool. I'm fucking in. I don't care what this is. I need to know what this is. Like, I need to play this because Sword and Sorcery is so good. So yeah, that's coming out holiday 2020. So Godfall, that it's published by Gearbox. It's like a melee focused combat game, but it seems like it's going to be a live service thing. This game is doing very little for me. Like every time I see it, I'm just
that trailer, like the soundtrack and just the visuals, I don't know, it didn't really mesh for me
at all.
But it honestly made me think that they're going for, and it sounds silly, like a Borderlands vibe. It's almost like it's a third person, I want to say like Dark Souls, but more Borderlands in tone. But I don't know, because that's all the trailer shows me. I don't actually know what the tone of the game is at all.
All I see from like all the gameplay stuff is just like it's got flashy looking melee combat, but that's like about it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. This is only PC and PS5, and it's coming out holiday 2020. Then from the creators of Hyperlight Drifter, Solar Ash was announced for PS5. Solar Ash has been announced previously, so this is them just saying it's coming to new consoles.
Have you played Hyperlight Drifter?
You know, I've tried it twice, and both times I just didn't get hooked by it. Like,
really?
I love the style, I love the music. I fell off it both times, so I don't think it's bad. It's just not hooked me. You know what I mean?
I've been meaning to play it because, interestingly, when I've asked for recommendations on games to play that are challenging and that would be sort of my vibe, I've been told Hyperlight Drifter several times, and I've just never gotten around to it. So.
It is challenging and is difficult, and I definitely think you'd enjoy it. It's just not my.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
like
your
it is
cup of
my
tea.
type of game. It's just not vibing with me. Solar Ash is a 3D. It almost looks like a very fast-paced exploration game, and it gels with me a lot better. It looks cool.
But in terms of the color palette, it very much reminds me of Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah,
like
it's got the same
purples
like
and
pink and
oranges.
blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This was a surprise. Hitman 3.
Hitman 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, weirdly enough, so at the office, it's usually around E3, we sort of just make some quick predictions. John Michael tracked some of our predictions, and he came back this week, and I apparently said that Hitman Season 3 would be announced sometime this period, because obviously E3 has been cancelled. But I was close. We got Hitman 3, which I guess is
Hitman
the
3.
mainline entry.
I'm also shocked that it's out so soon. It's out in January 2021. So it's apparently going to conclude the reboot trilogy. It's obviously coming to all consoles. But yeah, I'm more curious to see how the Series X and the PS5 allow them to make like bigger worlds and more simulated worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so those 2 seasons of Hitman we've had, those are like pretty populated worlds as is. So now
really cool
imagine.
sandboxes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Astro's Playroom, which is like the little characters from Astrobot.
This is apparently going to be bundled with the PS5.
I
don't know if that's true.
It looks like something that is there to like show off all the funny things that the controller can do and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay.
This one was interesting for a few reasons. Little Devil Inside. I backed this game in 2015 on Kickstarter.
What?
Because the Kickstarter updates had slowed down so much, I assumed this game was dead. I was like, I'm never going to get this game. And then it just fucking appeared here. And I was like, what? And it was funny because everyone's like, oh, this game looks so cool, whatever. And I'm like, this game has been around for like 5 years. How? Yeah.
But now what happens? So if it launches, do you actually get a copy because you kickstarted it way back when?
So I'll get a PC copy because that's what I backed.
Okay, yeah. No, not
apparently it's a PS5 timed exclusive, so it will come to other consoles, and they're aiming for launch on PS5 and PC at the same time.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it'd be hilarious if they launch it on PS5. Like, no.
Oh,
PC,
no,
you can have your
they sent
Kickstarter
out a
copy
Kickstarter backer update being very specific, like, we are aiming for PC and PS5 at the same time.
Did you get an email like, hey, we're still alive, by the way?
Yeah.
You're getting your copy.
It looks really cool. It's got, like, this, like, almost stop motion claymation type of visual style to it. It's
interesting looking.
It's interesting looking. It was the visual style is what drew me to it to back it in the first place. So I'm happy it's still alive. So yeah, that's cool. That's also coming out. There is no specific release date. NBA 2K21.
Sweat simulator.
So much sweat. Oh my god.
So much sweat.
I just couldn't. I couldn't.
If you're wondering what would sway you over to the PS5, let me tell you, the sweat looks really good.
It does look pretty good. It does.
It's real.
Bug
Snacks.
Snacks.
After that, Bug Snacks. Look,
this game.
I've never played Octodad. Okay, but I know it's got like this weird cult following and people really enjoy it.
Octodad's phenomenal. I think it's really good.
But Bug Snacks it's a sort of trailer a typical gamer would look at and roll their eyes.
Yeah.
But I watched the trailer. I was very taken by it. I was like, this looks awesome. Silly.
I was there for it. It was weird watching that at like 11 at night and wondering if I'd fallen asleep.
And remember, this is getting toward the end of the showcase. You're like, okay, what is this thing? Like, is this the blowout exclusive? They're going to end the
It was
conference
really
with?
something. I was just like, what the fuck is this? And that song was so catchy. So it's basically like you're on an island where all the bugs are like made up of snacks. So like my favorite was this like centipede that was like made up of pieces of a sandwich, and there was this bug that was like an animated rack of ribs. It looked really ridiculous, and I don't actually know what the sort of gameplay is, but I'm keen to find out.
It made me hungry.
It did.
That's all I can say. Yeah.
That's out on PC, PS4, PS5, holiday 2020.
All the things. Oh
Big
boy.
one
And
next. Demon's Souls remake.
I always thought it was Demon Souls.
Yeah, it's Demon's
So every time I
Souls.
read the article, I was like, these dudes got it wrong. They put an S on Demon. I'm like, no, it's Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls. Yeah.
But it's weird. There's no apostrophe saying like Demon's Souls. It's just Demon's Souls.
No, there is an apostrophe.
Oh, then there's just a typo in this article.
Yeah,
Darren, why?
there's definitely an apostrophe. It's the Demon's
Oh,
Souls.
I see on the
yeah.
YouTube.
My God.
You're fired,
yeah,
Darren.
Bluepoint had been rumored to be making this for a while. They are making it. It's, man, if you never got to play the original, it's something. I never finished it, but I appreciate so many ideas that it had. Especially its world tendency system, where it was like if you died in a certain, because it wasn't open world, it was like hub worlds.
Yeah.
So if you died in a certain hub world a few times, you would change the tendency to dark, and it, if I remember correctly, it would make that area harder. So you had to balance moving between areas and keeping the tendency as neutral as you could.
Yeah.
It's really something, and I think you especially are going to love this game.
I'm very excited for it, but I wonder. So because it's a remake, I wonder to what extent they are actually going to remake it. Like, I know obviously it's getting a probably like ground up visual remake, whatever it is. But I wonder in terms of actual systems, how much they'll keep and what they'll actually change. Because it's the same thing with, I suppose, Final Fantasy VII, where fans will be upset if you change too much. Mm-hmm. But maybe there are systems there that are archaic that aren't fun today. So, but I've got no reference. I never played the original, so I'm excited regardless to play it.
It's cool. It is the format that Dark Souls and Bloodborne draw from. Like this was their big break from software, and originally it was only released in Japan. It was Shuhei Yoshida who like convinced Sony to take a chance and bring it to America.
Okay, so that makes sense, because at this point in the conference, this is when Shuhei Yoshida just popped up. He's like, this next trailer is very close to my heart, whatever he said. And then it showed Demon Souls. I was like, I don't know what his connection is there, but you just explained it.
He like championed, as far as I know, the story goes that he championed the game to eventually, because it released in Japan, and a lot of people in America started importing it. And then eventually it launched here because the demand was there, and Shuhei convinced Sony to release it here.
But that's like a power move though, because think about, I love this sort of conversation, because then you think about what if he didn't.
Exactly.
Like, would Dark Souls and Bloodborne
would they exist?
Sekiro even exist? Like, probably not. So they might have in Japan.
Demon Souls, like when Dark Souls eventually came and went multi-platform and stuff, everyone was like, man, Sony. So, and I still think to this day, Sony missed the boat on locking down Souls as like an exclusive.
Exclusive. I mean, they got Bloodborne.
They got Bloodborne, they did. Yeah. And I think that was after they saw the success of Dark Souls 1 and 2. They made those moves.
I would be shocked if after Elden Ring, Bloodborne 2 is made and it's multi-platform. Like, I strongly think that Sony will try their best to keep that onto their platform. Because Bloodborne is very much one of the best PS4 games. Like, it's synonymous with the console. So,
and they supposedly bringing it to PC. So,
it's a good time.
Getting hot under the collar here.
I know. And then next we had
Deathloop. Oh, so Demon Souls, no date. Deathloop.
So when they showed the Deathloop trailer at E3, I actually really I thought the trailer was really cool. Like, I thought it was very stylish. I just loved how it was executed. To see gameplay, it's interesting because it's made by Arcane, right?
Yeah. Developers of Prey and Dishonored.
So I think the combat looks interesting, but I'm curious to see what the final game is actually like, because the premise they've shown now is that you basically some dude trying to escape from an island, I think.
Yeah, like a perpetual loop.
A perpetual loop, and he's constantly dying and resetting and trying to get off this island, which I think is an interesting premise, but I want to see it executed now. Like, what will the game actually be like, you know? I think it looks cool though.
I think it looks really cool. I like the idea of, you know, you're this guy and you're trying to escape this loop, but there's also another assassin who's hunting you to try and keep you in this loop, and that ties into the game's like multiplayer features where you can invade other players' games. So you're playing like a first-person stealth game, but also you're playing against another player, which looks like I'm in agreement with you. I kind of want to see how this works in reality, because I think the premise and the idea is so solid. I just can't picture how it plays.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of Dishonored-ish looking mechanics. Like there's a blink. The perspective looks very much like Dishonored. So I think if you're a fan of those games, I think they're building upon that.
And I think it's just, I've already mentioned the style of the game, this aesthetically.
So good.
I love it. It gives me very it sounds silly, like Austin Powers vibes, like the visual style. And I'm quite keen to see the final.
It's a very unique style. It's not something you see a lot. Yeah, it's got the title screen almost looks like an old classic movie, almost like a Tarantino vibe. Looked really cool. Also is a PS5 console exclusive, so it's PC and PS5. It's also got no date. So I hope you're keeping track that most of these games have no dates. Resident Evil Village, the worst kept secret ever.
Okay, look, we knew this game was coming, but I want to proudly say that the moment I saw, like within the first 5-10 seconds, I was like, is this Resident Evil? And then I very quickly, because it's a weird Resident Evil trailer, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And then someone in chat said, maybe it's the new Outlast. And then I was like, it could be the new Outlast. But I very much was like, I think it's Resident Evil. And
I thought people were thinking Silent Hill.
Let's see, look, I might have mentioned Silent Hill, I don't know. But right at the beginning, I was like, I think this is Resident Evil. And there's actually one shot where you see a mansion very briefly. I'm like, that is so Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's like classic, like when you get that shot in the trailer of that like darkly lit but very opulent looking like mansion. It's like, this is classic.
It's weird
Resident
because
Evil.
it's like that's such a Resident Evil thing. And yeah, so Resident Evil 8, like you said, worst kept secret, but it is coming. It picks up.
Looks weird.
It's so weird. So like, it's interesting because Capcom obviously they're in an interesting place because they want to keep pushing the franchise, which they're doing with 7 and 8. I mean, 7 was a weird departure as well from the formula, but they kind of get to keep the roots with the remakes.
Yes.
So like, we've got 2 and 3, which are very much, it's the core Resident Evil we know, and it's enhanced, rebuilds, whatever. They can sort of keep that going where they can, they've still got Code Veronica to do, for example. If they want to, they can do it with Resident Evil 4. But Resident Evil 8 looks like the wildest departure from
it really does.
The franchise. Like it honestly, it could look like an Outlast game. With some of the weird shit they were showing, I was like, this isn't Resident
I was also
Evil.
kind of shocked, like the trailer made it seem like they jumped backwards in time because it looked very like it's got all these occult like elements to it. There's like, it looks like a coven of witches who are dressed very fancily, and you've got werewolves and these like cabins and this castle in the mountains that looks very like
it's Resident Evil 4
17 like 1800s. But then it stars Ethan from Resident Evil 7, and then right at the end of the trailer you see Chris Redfield again. So it's like, okay, so it is modern. How
does Chris Redfield continue to get bigger?
He also just looks different every single time.
Well, in this trailer, I thought he looked a lot older, which makes sense because the story is progressing. But he also simultaneously still got
he's huge,
these big muscles. But it's like
he's been using that quarantine time to just get jacked,
to just do some push-ups. But like you mentioned, it shows very old school castles and villages, which at one point I did think, is this a Resident Evil 4 remake?
Yeah, that's also, I was like, they're going for the remake first? Like,
yeah, because it looks, Resident Evil 4, if you don't know, is also, it was a departure at the time.
Yeah.
Like, not at all static camera, also over-the-shoulder action game, but really good. Like, Resident Evil 4 is still one of the highest scoring games on Metacritic because it was phenomenal.
But it's weird because it could almost be a spin-off. It like hardly connects to the overall.
Exactly. But aesthetically, the fact that this has that whole castle backdrop, that reminds me so much of Resident Evil 4. So I'm sure there is some...
I was just waiting for that very small kid zombie thing to appear.
I know.
That guy's so
I'm excited regardless because I think Resident Evil 7 is like highly underrated. I think a lot of people missed it, but it was a good game.
It's a good game.
It really was a good game.
Yeah,
really and good. I'm quite excited that we get to carry on playing as this new dude, Ethan, who we don't actually know much
Ethan
about.
Carter? Or is it just Ethan?
Is it Ethan Winters or
maybe it's Winters.
Now?
Oh, I'm thinking there's a game called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. That's why I'm confused.
This is the weird connection game you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, exactly. Vanishing of Ethan Carter is actually Resident
He's turned
Evil
up
9.
in Resident Evil 8. There we go. So I'm excited for it. But interestingly enough, how many times have Capcom come out and said, here's a new Resident Evil out in 6 months?
Yeah.
This one doesn't have that.
This is out in 2021. So...
Yeah. So, but we don't know. It could be January 2021 if they want to keep to their...
It's quite intense
cycle.
That they're basically doing annual Resident Evils at this point. It's... Yeah, because it was like 7, then remake 2, then remake 3, now 8, and there's already 4 apparently coming in 2022. So...
Yeah.
Wild. It's weird that it's also called Resident Evil Village. It's not... There's no 8 in the name. No. Even though they use the Roman numerals in the village to indicate 8.
Didn't you see where they highlighted it? They made it an 8.
I mean, it would have been very cool if no one had known, because before they reveal the 8, there's no indication that it's Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like you were with me at that Sony conference where they revealed the kitchen demo
7.
to be Resident Evil 7, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think cool. the leak spoiled that a little bit because that would have been a very cool like, ooh, what's Village? Oh, 8. Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh well.
Anyway, also Capcom, they revealed a new IP called Pragmata, which
can I tell you, when this was shown, did you not get Death Stranding vibes?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was like, this
I
looks like a Kojima game.
Yeah, but I honestly thought like the way the dude walks. And it looked like he had stuff in his back as well. I was like, is this already like a teaser for the next Death Stranding?
Yeah.
Because I really got that vibe. And the fact that, I don't know, it really gave me that vibe. And it's like, no, it's not. It's Pragmata.
I mean, the suit even looked like the Kojima Productions mascot thing.
Yes,
like
but I
whatever.
think that's what made me think of it specifically. It is that space suit. So I was like, oh, like, here we go. Here's the next Death Stranding already.
Yeah, but this is developed by Capcom. They didn't really show off much... about what it is because the game's only out in 2022. So,
it's interesting.
Yeah, don't know what that is, but yeah. Then to close the show, probably the one game that I expected to almost open the show. Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with the numeral sequel.
Yeah, it's interesting, but like I also missed it, but in the actual logo or lockup, there is a 2 in it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it's very small. It's like super tiny, this little 2.
Okay.
That image, that tweet you sent me earlier this week, which showed like supposedly the cover art, whatever.
Yeah.
Have a look at it. You'll see there's a little 2 there.
That key art is so beautiful.
I also completely missed it. Yeah.
My God.
But when this trailer started, it's weird how with music you can pick up similar tones and vibes. Like within the first 5-10 seconds, I was like, it's Horizon. Like I recognize the sort of theme or melody, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And it was, and it looks really, really good.
It looks so good. So you're still playing as Aloy. She's now moved to a western part of America. That's why you get to see like the dilapidated Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And she's basically trying to find out why this plague is causing local wildlife to kind of die off. I don't know I can't recall now if they said that the footage shown was like in engine or something, but it was just stunning. Like
it's super pretty. There's a moment where they show Aloy swimming underwater, and it's just you see all the wildlife, the coral,
Colours.
and it's just
there's so much color in this game. That's what like really gets me. It's even the first one, like all the lights on the like robot wildlife and just the difference of color from the different biomes that you visit. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see other robots here.
Yeah, but this trailer showed one thing that stuck out to me is all the different biomes that were shown. So in the first one, it really was like sort of green area and then snow area.
And then the desert area.
And then, like a desert area. But this struck me as like those biomes are there, but they look, I don't know.
A bit more natural, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there's beaches, which is new.
The first one also, the way it transitioned from one to the other also felt like a Zelda. Like it didn't feel like you went from snow to desert. And I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, and I mean, on that, Breath of the Wild is weird in that it's a big map, but it's still, you could be in a hot desert 1 second through to like a snow-capped mountain the next, which in real life is
makes no sense.
Doesn't really happen.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the like marshy swamp place where she saw the like big turtle coming out of the water, and the like pterodactyl thing, which is probably going to be the new annoying Glinthawk, because those things, those things. Jesus, I hated those things in the first one.
So bad.
I'm super stoked for this, and just like I predicted, not a launch game.
Not a launch game.
No
you
date.
Win 1 million internet points.
No date, because I think the prevailing theory was like, Horizon came out 2016 or no 2017 because it came out with Zelda, so it's like 3 years sequel launching with the console.
Yeah,
who would have guessed it was actually a standalone Spider-Man all along?
Who knew?
So just to take stock, so games that we know for a fact are coming out at launch are Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Returnal, I think. Wow, I'm having to. Jet the Far Shore, Godfall, Hitman 3 might as well be a launch game because it's like January. Bug Snacks. That's
the
it.
console seller. Bug Snacks.
Like that's it, and that's I think the big point that got lost in this conference is like.
I can tell you that was completely over my head. I didn't even notice. I was like, wow, look at all the awesome games. But
Sony does this a lot. They manage to circumvent this. Like, how many E3s have they shown off games that are like, fuck yeah, super hyped? Like, we watched Death Stranding be revealed at the first E3 you went to. We played it last year.
Long ago, yeah. Well, there was a tweet that went out earlier this week as well, which showed all the launch titles of every PS since like
it was actually Radic who shared that, yeah.
Oh, was it Radic who shared that? And if you look at them, they're actually not that strong. Like across all of them, there's maybe 1 or 2 titles, but honestly, it's like very underwhelming. And I think he shared it saying like, what are your predictions for the PS5? And if you look at it, it's like...
Launch titles have always been disappointing. Like,
yeah.
And this is why like people are so... the general... thing I see on Twitter is like, well, what is the Series X launching with? And when Microsoft said, well,
Halo.
Our exclusives are going to be cross-gen, everyone's like, oh, that's a bad move. I'm like, why is it a bad move? Like,
you're actually going to have games to play on your new console.
Yeah, so it's not pushing people to buy the new console, and you also avoid the disappointment of you buy a new console and there's fuck all to play.
Remember when the Switch came out? It was literally
like
Breath
5
of the
titles.
Wild.
Yeah.
Like quite literally, people bought like, wow, this game's amazing. And then there was a drought of, I've got nothing else to play on my Switch.
It took a while for the Switch to pick up. It really did.
But it's the same. People forget that that's honestly the case for most consoles. You'll buy into it like, wow, and then there's actually...
And even that's an exception because Breath of the Wild was incredible. So for it to be a launch game and like one of the best games of this gen was like... I mean, I think back to the PS3. The PS3 launched... It had Resogun was widely touted as the best launch game, and it was a 2D arcade shooter. Like Shadowfall, Killzone Shadowfall was like really middling. I thought I didn't think it was that good. I can't even remember what else the fucking console launched with. And the same with the Xbox One. It had that Rise Son of Rome, which was like, oh, it's so pretty. It's from Crytek, but the game itself sucked.
But I mean, on that point, think about the first 2 years of each console. It's very forgettable titles. Like, sorry to say,
Yeah.
I mean, like, wasn't Quantum Break also early on the Xbox?
It was like a year or two in, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, good game. I haven't played it, but apparently very good. But like, no one talks about it. No one talks about
Sunset Overdrive came out like a
Sunset
year
Overdrive,
and a bit after.
No one talks about Infamous. Like, those were early console titles. But now, thing about at the end of the generation, there's Bloodborne, there's Horizon Zero Dawn, there's Death Stranding,
There's Last of Us.
I mean, there's Last of Us, Uncharted 4. So, like, as excited as I am for the PS5, it's going to be tricky because I'm very tempted. Like I've said before, I'm in a position now where I can actually buy a console on launch, which it's a position I've never been in. But am I going to pull the trigger if there's nothing worth playing?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as
that's a good question to ask yourself, especially when they bring out revisions of consoles so quickly as well.
Oh, but we actually haven't gotten to the actual console. The PS5 was revealed at the end of all those games.
Oh boy,
you don't like them?
I don't like it. No, I don't like it. What's weird is that I've had both my parents see it on the news on TV and be like, "Wow, that console looks nice," and I'm just like, "Am I crazy or?"
No, you're not alone. So when you tweeted that it's ugly, I was like, oh, you're a minority. Because I was watching and people were like, yeah, that looks nice. But you're actually not. There's been a lot of people I've seen on Twitter the day that follow, like, I'm not sold on it.
I really don't like the way it looks.
But one colleague of mine pointed out a very good point. So when I put it next to the Series X, personally, I think the Series X looks kind of boring.
Definitely. I will agree with that, yeah.
But what he pointed out is that the Series X has a more timeless design where you'll look back on it in 10, 20 years and be like, that is a good-looking console. Whereas the PS5 looks weirdly not out of place, but like weirdly futuristic and like a weird shape. And it might, in 10 years, you might look back and be like, oh, that's a very weird design.
It looks like one of those things that, like when we don't know the design of a console, but everyone does those like fan renders.
Mock-ups,
it looks like a fan render to me.
So, I mean, from that point of view, I can think, if I look back, it might look weird, but at the moment, I'm like, it looks quite nice.
It's apparently huge. People have been like
when they showed, there was a tweet going around as which showed all the consoles lined up.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
because when they showed the PS5, I was like, that looks. So the Series X is like this big cube.
Yeah,
and I thought
everyone was giving it shit. They're like, wow, that thing's so tall. It's
tall, it's big, and then when you put it next to the PlayStation is huge.
It's like a third taller.
It's not thick, but it's tall.
It's so tall.
Massively tall.
Yeah.
So
you can mount it vertically or horizontally. It seems like the same stand is used for both. What really caught, I think, everyone off guard was that they announced 2 consoles. One with the drive and one without a drive.
One without. That did not even cross my mind.
I mean, really everyone's been talking about Microsoft doing that with Lockhart, and everyone just assumed Sony was just not going to do that. So this really puts Microsoft in a weird position, I think. Because I think Sony just revealed something that plans to undercut them too.
Yeah, and it gives Sony, I think, a lot of leeway in terms of pricing. Because if I think about it now, so there was a leak from Amazon. I think, what was it? Amazon supposedly posted the price of the PlayStation
Amazon
5.
did come out and say that was an error, but there were like listings for the PS5 that were £600, which was like, wow. No.
Which I'm like, that is a lot of money. That means when it gets to South Africa, it'll be like 15,000 Rand, I'd guess, easily. But now that there are 2 versions, I honestly think like the discless version will be cheaper.
Yes.
By how much, I don't know. But if it's like $450 for the discless, then $500 for the normal, or $500 for the discless, $550. Like, Sony have some sort of leeway now, which is cool because you should be able to choose. And I think a lot of people will inevitably buy discless because when's the last time you bought a physical game?
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I'm considering the one with the disc is because I've got like movies like 4K.
That's the only reason you would buy, is if you have Blu-ray films.
But at the same time, my Xbox One X currently plays that just fine. So like, do I need? I like the symmetry of the discless one a lot more. It's actually symmetrical, whereas the one with the disc just looks fucking dumb.
It just pops up there.
It looks like an afterthought. Honestly, it's like. yeah, it's gross.
So
I don't like it.
I'm leaning towards the discless one, not only for that reason, but because it'll be cheaper.
Yeah, presumably it will be cheaper. I'm very curious. I'm of the opinion that Microsoft will want to launch even the Series X, not their Lockhart diskless or underpowered one. I assume that once you launch their Series X at a cheaper price than the diskless PS5, they don't want to give people the option of like, do I get a Series X or a diskless PS5? I think they want to undercut the entire brand.
Well, what would be very clever is if the Series X comes in at the exact same price as the diskless PS5.
Yeah.
And then at some stage, Xbox says, "Oh, by the way, here's our diskless version.
It's Lockhart.
It's $50 cheaper.
Yeah, or $50 or $100 cheaper. I think that's what they're going for. And I think that's going to be the big price thing. Is like, do you get a PS5 with no disc drive or a Series X? Do you pay the premium for the disc drive, or do you get a Xbox Lockhart? Whatever the fuck that ends up being. So
I don't know.
Yeah, very exciting times. Very, very exciting.